All gone people, back again for another review of Sistas. Sisters, this is season 3, episode 4. All right, so the episode starts off where it left off last week, which was the surprise wedding, right? So, of course, Gary is there saying, Andy, not really, will you marry me, but, do you want to do this today? Before Andy could even answer, Danny's like, "Oh, so this is a setup." And then, of course, Karen jumps in and like, "Oh, hell no. Andy, we gotta go. Andy, we have to go. I need to talk to you. We need to talk to you. We need to talk to you." And then Gary's like, "Andy, is that a yes? Is that a yes?" And Andy's just like, "Oh, this is so sweet." But she's not saying yes, but she's and then so Karen is insistent, right? And Karen's like, Andy, I need to talk to you right now. We need to talk to you right now. So Danny grabs her. Oh no, no, no. Before Danny grabs her, then who busts through the door? Aaron. I'm like, where you been? I done forgot that they were friends, right? Even remember that the part they said them say him and Andy are friend. So, um, so then Andy is like, "Well, don't we need a marriage license?" And then Gary's like, "Well, that's what Aaron's for. Aaron just got the marriage license." Like, oh, so you're all set to go. So Karen's like, "We got to talk now." So Danny grabs her and they leave off, right? And then so they go around to the back to go talk. And Fatima excuses herself. She's like, I'm gonna let y'all friends talk. I'm not, I'm not a part of your friends. Like, so she left out and she, decided to go outside. Karen is going off. Karen's like, hell no, Andy, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. You cannot do this. He is a narcissistic, controlling ass, and so then Danny says, Karen, no, she's gonna, she wants to do it. Look at her, she wants to do it. And then so Karen's like looking at Sabrina. Sabrina's like, this is what Andy wants to do. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't like Karen. I don't like the Karen character. However, in this situation, that would be me. If that was my best friend and I felt like she was gonna marry somebody who she ain't supposed to marry, even though I should be like how Danny is, and by like letting her, being mature about it and letting her um do what she wanna do. I gotta be like, hell no, we are left with us or no, I married him. No, I'll be like, hell no. I would be like her in that situation. Even though I know the right thing is for her to stand by her friend, but I'm just telling you what I would be like. Anyways, um, Daniel was of course like I love her enough to let her make her own decisions. And I was like, damn. That hit me to myself as a friend, like because I was like associating myself with Karen. Like, yeah, that's how I would be. And then when Dennis said that, I was like, damn, you gotta love your friend enough to let her make her own decision. So like I said, I realized that, the right thing to do would be to let her, just be there by her side and be her friend in that moment. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's still, I'm there with Karen right now. Although I feel like Karen is like unhappy in her own life right now. And so it's hard for her to be happy for somebody else because she herself is unhappy in her life. So I guess that's why it would be hard for her to stand there with her friend. So maybe I got something to learn. I'm trying to learn. Right. So Karen's insisting, and then Andy's like, No, 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 he's not narcissistic. This is what I want. This is what I want. On our first date months ago, on our first date. I'm like, months ago. You didn't even know him 1 year and you want married already? You never meet him pitney yet. Our children. 'Cause remember last week I was like, how come it's only one? I thought it was more than one. But then this week, Karen was like, children. So I'm like, okay, yeah, there is more than one, right? Anyway, she never met him pitney them yet. She don't know him parents. She don't know a lot of things about him. Right? So why you wanna get married? And who the hell wants a surprise wedding? Huh? She's like, months ago on our first date, I told him that, I don't want the stress of a big wedding. I just want a surprise. Wouldn't it be great to have a surprise wedding, like a birthday party? And, I told him what kind of dress I wanted. I told him how I want my groom to be dressed. I told him the bouquet I wanted. I wanted how my bridesmaids should be dressed. And he remembered everything. He remembered all the details. And I'm like, oh my God, they're really trying to get us to like Gary. I don't want to like Gary. They're really trying to make it be like he's this romantic guy and he just really loves Andy and he just wants Andy. And I'm not here for it. I do not like him at all. Karen don't like him either. And so Karen's like, well, let me tell you what me remember. My member say him lie to you. My member say he squeeze your backside till you nearly till you pass out, right? My member say he married. My member say he make the feds come down by you. She was like, oh, that wasn't him. That was his wife. His wife did that. She was like, well, I wife making care of our country. Was it his wife that let him bring you to the country to try to take you away from your friends? Did his wife do that part? And then jumps in. It's her life. Of course she remembers. And Karen's like, me not stay here, so my God, I'm gonna change my clothes outside and I'm out. And Denny's like, you're wrong, Karen, you're wrong, you should stay. And Sabrina says she's staying, and so what's her name? Karen leaves. She goes outside, she changes her clothes, she goes to Gary, she's like, I don't like you. I do not like you. That's exactly something that I would have done too. I would have done that. I would have went to the guy and be like, me not like you. Me not like you. As a matter of fact, me want you left my friend. I'll be like, maybe I want to say leave my friend, but I'd be like, be truthful. Just be truthful with her. Tell her honestly what's going on. I would be challenging that. Ugh, I don't like the N word, but I'll be challenging that man. So she goes out, and she says in front of Aaron and Gary, she's like, I don't like you, and I forgot what else she said. She was just like, whatever. And Aaron looks like he was about to go after her. She's like, don't follow me. So then Gary's like, what's going on there? And they're like, oh well, we're kind of dating. I'm like, no, y'all not. I don't know what kind of friends um Aaron and Gary be where Gary doesn't know that he's, been seeing Karen all this time. Whatever. So anyway, back in the room, the girls, so now Andy, so Danny and Sabrina, you know, they start they start saying, we're your friends, we're gonna stay here for you. I didn't really like that comment of we're your friends because that's implying that Karen's not a friend. So, but anyway, we'll stand by you. And then she asked them, she's like, do you think I should do this? And to their credit, they both said no. They both said, no, we don't think you should do this. But we'll stand by you. And so she starts crying, and then they like, okay, we gotta get shit together. So we'll fix the makeup. Let's fix your makeup. So they start fixing her makeup and stuff. So that was that for them. So then now Karen, okay, so Karen gets outside now to her car. So I guess next to Karen's car must be Fatima's car because Fatima's out there, smoking some weed. And so she comes out, and um, Fatima's like, I didn't know. She's like, because Fatima still feels away and still feels like she needs to be apologetic to Karen for some reason. And I'm like, you don't need to be apologetic to her, but anyway, she is. She's like, I didn't know. And then Karen's like, you really didn't know? Like, no, I didn't know. So he talked about his ex a lot. And then, so now Fatima's like, buttering her up, really. She's like, he talked about his ex a lot. A lot. He always talked about his ex. But, oh shit, what does she say about the ex? And then Karen, so Karen's softening up. And then, so she's like, he didn't get any details. And then Fatima's like, no, I stopped him, you know, because he was always doing that. So then Karen's just like, well, he ain't shit. And Fatima's like, not agreeing. She's like, you don't agree? Fatima's like, no. Fatima's like, listen, I know how to drop. Uh, I can drop a man like nothing. I know how to drop him, which we've seen. She knows how to do that, right? But she's like, but with Zach, it's different. I feel different. And I'm like, oh. So, you know, things are going to happen for Fatima and Zach. If Zach behave himself, because no. So then Fatima's like, you leaving? She's like, yeah. And she's like, well, I'm staying. I'm going to support my friend. I support, I don't know if she said my friend. I'm going to support Andy in her decision. And basically, she said, I think you should stay too. But if you want to go, go. But if you would stay, I think Andy would really appreciate it. But Karen not have it at all. Karen's like, I don't have it. I'm leaving. So Karen left out of there. And then she goes to her office. For some reason, she doesn't go home. She goes to her office, right? And at the office, you know, she sits down and then she hears all these, sex noises. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Of course, when she goes into her, well, she was sitting in the salon and it's coming from her office. When she goes to the office, open the door, of course, it's Pam in there with some random. And, so the guy comes out and he leaves and, she was like, Pam, come on, what? Pam's like, well, you do it. But Karen's like, but it's my place. Like, don't do it again. Anyway, Pam's like on her. Pam's like, what are you doing here? Who are you meeting? Like, I ain't meeting nobody. But anyway, as soon as Pam leaves, who does she call? Zach. Zach has her blocked on his phone, right? So, she's calling Zach, but so then they go to Zach. Um, he's not answering, right? So she's calling Zach, but he's not answering. Zach turns up at Danny's apartment looking for Danny, right? But of course, Danny's not there. So Preston opens the door. He's like, Zach's like, you cook. So Preston reluctantly lets him in, right? Yeah, it's not that he doesn't like him, but he's kind of scared of Danny because if he eats all the food, then he's gonna go get upset with him. Right. So anyway, Zach invites himself to dinner, and of course it's steak and potatoes, and he's like digging in, and he's eating, and he's like, so then he asks Preston how are things with him and Danny, right? So Preston's like, they're good, I think. It's like, you think? It's like, yeah, I think they're good. Because poor Preston, every time he's like walking on eggshells most times because if he does the wrong thing, like for instance, he was playing his country music, and there goes Zach telling him that song is racist. I was like, what? Yeah, well, but anyways, then so he's like, so he's just like, I think we're good. So then he says, "How are you and Karen?" He's like, me and Karen, we're done." So, and Preston's like, "Really?" It's like, "Yeah, we're done." Um, I I wouldn't want her back after she looked me in the face and told me I stole her credit card, and then she had me arrested. And I'm just looking at him like, "Yeah," and then you went and slept with her. Like, so that doesn't mean it's over. I mean, I want it to be over because I love him. Fatima together. But and then he was like, so then his phone's ringing, and Preston's like, answer the phone. He's like, no, it's bill collectors or something. It's like, answer the phone. So he answers it, and it's Karen. And he's like, so Preston's like, mm-hmm, I know it wasn't over. Anyway, he implies to Karen, well, he tells Karen he's having dinner. And she's like, by yourself? And he's like, no. But he doesn't say it's with Preston, right? So he kind of, is kind of implying that, he's having dinner with, a female. And she's like, well, I need to see you. Can you come over? Can you come to the shop? He's like, well, I'm eating dinner. He's like, I'll wait. I'm like, you'll wait? I mean, he's kind of implying he's on a date and you're going to wait until he's done. You want him to prove that you're important, so he won't go home with this date and come to you. She wants Zach back so bad. But she just wants him back because the sex was good, and because she feels like he moved on to somebody else, that on top of it made it even worse, right? Because if they actually got back together, it would be for 2 minutes, and then they would be arguing again. So she doesn't really want him back. Her ego wants him back. That's what it is. Her ego wants him back. So they hang up, Um, and then he asks Preston, he's like, what would you do if somebody gave you a tip? Would you put all your money on it? And Preston's like, well, did you vet it? And he's like, yeah, I did a little bit of research. And then Preston's like, well, if you research it and you feel good about it, then yeah, go ahead and do it. And I'm like, oh no. I am like, Zach is gonna lose all his money, right? Because they wouldn't put it in the show. That's just how shows are. They wouldn't be putting this scenario in the show for Zach to say no and for nothing to happen from it, right? Something's gonna happen from it. He is going to go ahead and put his money in it. He's gonna lose his money, and it's gonna be so bad. It's gonna cause problems with him and Fatima too. Because Fatima told him he needs to put that money back into the business that they're doing that made him all that money in the first place. Anyway, so that was that for that. Who else did we see? Okay, Maurice. So Maurice goes to the club, and he's talking to the bartender, and he's telling the bartender, have you seen this guy named Q? The bartender's like, oh yeah, he comes here sometimes. So Maurice is like, let me know when you see him, right? So then Calvin comes in a sequins jacket. They are so cruel. I mean, he comes in a sequins jacket into the gay club, right? So Maurice is like, what are you doing here? This is a gay club. What are you doing here? He's like, well, I come here to remember my father and see all my father's friends. What's wrong with that? And Maurice is like, you're meeting somebody, ain't you? Anyway, of course, in comes the girl that he's meeting, and she's a white girl. So then, Maurice introduces himself, and she goes, my name is Peggy. And he goes, so Becky. I was laughing. Becky with the good hair. I was laughing. So, he asks Peggy, basically was questioning Peggy about, what's going on with her and Calvin. So then, and if she likes it here. So she was like, yeah, I like it here. Gay, and she knows that it's a gay club. She's like, yeah, gay clubs are great. They have great music, and, you know, And she's like, me and Calvin are free. We do what we want, and then so Calvin's like, yeah, don't mind him. Him and his friends, that will be Sabrina. Him and his friends are small minded. They think that once you dress a certain way and do a certain, it was just saying that they're small minded. So, what I miss? Yeah. Okay. So back now at the that because that was pretty much the show. Oh yeah. So while they're in the club dance, while they're in the clubs, then Calvin starts dancing with his girl, and then the bartender is like, hey, there's Q over there. So Maurice goes over to Q. I was like, I'm gonna call the police, right? Q was like, no, 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 it wasn't me. It was your friend. Maurice like, it wasn't my friend. It was you, and like knocks him out, and drags him out the club. So I guess we'll see what happens with that next week. So then we're back to Andy and the wedding. So they get her face, get all the tears off, get her makeup redone and stuff. And by this point, um, Fatima is back in the room, and they're like, "Okay, it's time to go. You're ready to go." And Andy's like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go." And then gets up, she gets up to go, and then she's like frozen in the spot. Right? And they're like, okay, let's go. And she's just like, I don't want to do this. And then that's the end. Like, Andy, you're so annoying. She's like so annoying. So basic so that was it. That's it for the review. Thanks for watching. Please like and share. Later.